get started. Good evening, everyone. Wherever you're joining us from, we're happy to have you. My name is Tiana Holder. I'm the Executive Director of the Globe Miami Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I am excited to be here with you tonight. Welcome to the virtual Gila County District Supervisor Candidate Forum, hosted by the Globe Miami Regional Chamber of Commerce. Due to COVID-19, we are live streaming this forum on the Chamber's YouTube channel, where it will remain afterwards so you can rewatch it anytime. The City of Globe was kind enough to let us use their facilities, but this is not endorsed by or associated with the City of Globe. Tonight, we will get to know the 4 individuals running for seats within Gila County government. For Gila County District 2 Supervisor candidates, we have Fred Barcone and incumbent Tim Humphrey. And for Gila County District 3 Supervisor candidates, we have Bernadette Niffen and incumbent Woody Klein. Our timekeeper tonight will be Board Treasurer Mickey Nye, with Chamber Board President Christy Cothran as moderator. Again, thank you all for joining us. I will now turn the time over to President Cothran so we can get started.
Thank you. You will each have 3 minutes to introduce yourselves and make opening remarks. So, Mr. Humphrey, why don't we start with you?
Okay, my name is Tim Humphrey. I'm currently Gila County Supervisor, District 2. Moved to Globe in probably '73. Have been around the area most of the time since. As a young man, I worked for Gila County in a lot of different departments of Gila County, from the fairgrounds to animal control to the road department. Later, I built 2 businesses, construction companies, what I've had for the last 25 years. Prior to that, I had a taxidermy business. And before being elected as county supervisor, was real active in the community on the board of Boys and Girls Club, Industrial Development Authority, Globe Miami Chamber of Commerce, Freeport McMoran's grant program. And so when I got elected supervisor, I got off a lot of those boards. As a conflict, I felt I could do more as a supervisor for them than I could as a board member for them. And so I was real active in the community. So when I became a supervisor, I've stayed active in the community. I've held my monthly meetings in Claypool, Roosevelt, Tonto Basin, have regular meetings in Gila, so I stay in front of the public and the public needs. And those meetings have turned into great meetings because the sheriff's office shows up to do reports. APS is there for reports. So it's been great being in front of the public to find out what is needed in different places. Have put together a team to help expedite projects in District 2. In the last couple years, we've got a lot of grant funding that has been reached for within the community for a long time. The Tono Bridge grant just came through. The grant for the Tri-City Sanitation, where worked with Tri-City, Town of Miami, City of Globe, Gila County, worked together for DMAs, so it was great to get all of those government entities to sit down at the same table. And so working forward on that. I've been to Washington many times for grants for the area and to help get things funded, and to work with getting the people working together in Gila County. And I'm getting a yellow flag. And so, yeah, a lot of projects that we're working on currently for drainage, composting pilot program with ADOT, drainage for Roosevelt. Been doing a lot, getting a lot of things going in the community. Thank you.
Yes. Dalda, that means in Apache, good evening, hello. My name is Bernadette Niffen, most call me Bernie. I was born in Globe, Arizona to Francis Renteria Niffen and Clark William Niffen Jr. My grandparents on my maternal side was Vera Ibarra Renteria and Frank Kikes of Globe, Miami, Arizona. My late grandparents on my dad's side was the late Sadie Stevens Niffen and Clark William Niffen Sr. I come from a family of 4 generations of veterans on both sides, hardworking people with good work ethics. And my grandpa Kike's Renneria was honored and listed in the Hall of Fame in the Football Player League, and is still called and known as the legend in the Globe Miami town of Gila County. I am very proud of my parents and grandparents. I am a member of the San Carlos Apache tribe. I graduated in 1981 from Globe High School. I worked at NAU as a master gardener, a snowplow operator. While working at NAU, I paid my way through college, and I humbly attained my Bachelor of Science degree in General Studies, AA in Business Administration with the emphasis in journalism. Graduated in December of 1992. Then continued to work for NAU Admissions Office until 1995. 95 to 2001, worked as a Head Start manager, director, attained a grant for the teachers to attain their AA bachelor's and master's degrees. Budget was increased to $1.1 million. 2001 to 3, worked for Globe DES under Dan Brockert. I worked in San Carlos, Hayden Winkleman, Apache Junction, Superior, Payson in the workforce areas. 2003, created the TANF Department and Transit Department till May 2008. Over 1,000 success in employment stories. I started with 1 van driver, one driver, and a budget of $88,000. Now operate 2 departments at $5.7 million federal and grant monies. No monies from the tribe. We are 100% self-sufficient, running programs, serving the people with a fleet of 30 vehicles and a staff of 42 and 30 trainees. I am an active member of the following boards and studies. SCAT White Mountain ADOT Partnership, 11 years, the Arizona Transit Association Board, the 19 Tribal Nations Workforce Innovation Opportunity Boards, San Carlos President of the St. Charles Board, and the Greater Gila County Transportation Feasibility. I know I can do the job serving Gila County District 3, for which I am qualified for. I am here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Niffen. Okay, Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Christy. Well, first, I'd like to thank all of you for putting this on tonight. This is really good. So, my name's Woody Klein. I'm the District 3 Supervisor for Gila County. I was born in Globe, and I was born in '63, right there at the old Gila General Hospital, down by where the jail is. So, it's been a while. But anyway, I grew up partly here in Globe, went through 4th grade, East Globe. From there, my family and us, we moved, and my parents worked on some local ranches between here and Young. Ended up around Young up there. I graduated school in Young in '81. Right after coming out of school, I went to work for the Forest Service, and I went to work in fire suppression, hotshot crews. I stayed with them until 2005 when I got out of the Forest Service. I'd worked my way all the way up to the fire management level inside the government. Traveled all over the country, had a lot of involvement in fires, handled a lot of different people, policies, budgets, a lot. Anyway, I got out in 2005 and bought some ranches. Me and my wife, we live there in Young. We have 3 daughters. 2 of them are there in Young with us. The other one's in Prescott, actually lives in Skull Valley. But anyway, we bought these ranches and built them up, sold them, and bought 3 others. And that's when I came to work with Gila County, when I ran 4 years ago as a supervisor for the supervisor's position and came to work for Gila County. And so being a supervisor, one of the things that helps me as a supervisor is my experience I had on the ground and the dealings I had with people, situations, money, the whole 9 yards. But the biggest thing that helps me in my position today and for the last 4 years, I'm not a politician and never have been and never will be. So it's been really, for me, easy, because when I get asked a question, when I have issues, when we tackle projects, it's straight up. You know, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to handle it. You know, sometimes the answer isn't what people want to hear, but that's me. I'm not one to mess around and dilly-dally around. So that's my story, and I think I'm capable of continuing on with this job. So thank you all again for doing this. This is really good.
Thank you. Mr. Barcon.
Thank you. My thanks to the Globe Miami Chamber for sponsoring this event. My name is Fred Barcon, and I was born and raised in Miami, Arizona. I worked at Inspiration Copper for 17 years before starting my own company. I have a general construction company specializing in concrete, doing mostly highway work. And I am a candidate for Gila County Supervisor, District 2. I have been working to bring in economic growth to Gila County for the past 30 years. I spent 27 years on the IDA, where most of that was spent as president. A few years ago, the Arizona Commerce Authority asked the IDA to help the Gila County get an Opportunity Zone designation for Globe Miami. The Opportunity Zone is a Trump administration program that encourages private enterprise in depressed areas. I reached out to the county to offer assistance and was told they didn't need the IDA's help. Globe Miami, as we were told later, was given the designation. At that point, the IDA jumped in and immediately started having tours of the Globe Miami area with investors from Phoenix, very wealthy investors. It was on one of those tours that I found out that Gila County officials had removed downtown Miami and the Tri-City area from the Opportunity Zone. Negligence, incidentally, by these officials were literally killed that little town of any potential economic boost that they would have derived from the designation. I've been working with Congressman O'Halloran for the last 2 years, trying to get the boundaries extended so that we could help that little town. And now we've been told it's going to actually take an act of Congress to extend the Opportunity Zone boundaries. This mistake and numerous others are why I'm running for supervisor.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Niffen, what do you think your constituents believe is the single most pressing issue facing your district, and what do you propose to do about it?
Okay. When I look at Gila County, I'm looking at economic development, not just because of the COVID. They're going to need economic development more than ever because of this COVID. And what I see is empty buildings, too many houses for sale, few people walking on the streets. We need economic development is what I see, and more jobs for the people, and maybe a transportation hub. A lot of our people in this area are Social Security recipients, the aging, people without transportation. So it'd be nice to coordinate, collaborate with all the other transportations in the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Klein.
So the economic development, as Bernie stated, is important. It's important for our growth as a county. What comes out of economic development and where we're at with it is economic development requires a lot of infrastructure in different ways. And broadband is one of them. Water supply is another one. And so when I came into the county, it's one thing we tackled as far as the county went as a whole was economic development, because we need the growth. We need that growth in the county. So Gila County is real diverse between here from the north to the south, and there's a lot of different issues depending on what part of the county you're in. But one of the things that we tackled with that was the Discover Gila County. And we put that together, started advertising what the county has, the whole county out there. It's grown really well, and it's been doing a lot. We're still working on the infrastructure part of it. Just here recently, we were awarded the E-rate grant money, just under $20,000. What that'll do is that'll bring broadband to all the libraries and schools But more importantly than that, what that's going to do is that's going to put in a lot of dark fiber. And dark fiber is just empty cable that's going to be in the lines. And what that's going to do is help businesses and residents be able in the future to tap into that broadband and go from there. So I have real hopes that this is going to drive our economic development.
Thank you. Mr. Barcone.
Well, I'm proud to say that as president of the IDA, we started a meeting on broadband like 2014. We met with the Commerce Department. We met with Cable One. We met with other entities. Through the IDA, we hosted most of the meetings in Payson for the broadband project for over 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. So economic development is on my agenda, as well as education, funding the college. I'm a strong believer in education. As a youth, I was a troubled youth, and when I got my apprenticeship, it made a big difference in my life. So I am a great proponent of education, and I was very disappointed to hear that our college had been defunded. So it's an important part of our infrastructure. So those two items, education and economic development.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Humphrey.
You know, you say the needs of my district. Depending on what part of my district would depend on their needs. Roosevelt Tonto Basin, there was a lot of fires, almost 500,000 acres burnt. So the ranchers and the people there need a lot of funding for drainage waters that are going to flood them out, and the ranchers are having to move their cattle. Their fences and stuff are burnt. Their waters are burnt. So for that area, we're talking to Washington, and I'm there on the phone a lot trying to get them funding there. When you look at the local, yes, sewer has been needed in between Globe and Miami for a long, long time. I think Tri-City really needs to happen for infrastructure, because the thing of it is how you can have infrastructure when you got people moving out of buildings because they can't use the facility. Roosevelt, drainage problems. The creeks run a lot, so they need riprap and stuff in the creeks. And where they don't have the creeks running, then there was lots developed without a drainage program in deal. So we're working on drainage programs. Infrastructure, yes, infrastructure is a big thing, but the thing of it is to me, you have to do that a little at a time and explore Gila County. I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but look at the people going through Payson, look at the people through going Globe. I live at Roosevelt Lake, and the thing of it is Schoolhouse Point parking lot is a huge parking lot, and on weekends, there's not one parking place open. So infrastructure, yeah, discover Gila County, they have. It's working. It does a good job. We got a consortium with staff to bring broadband to the schools and the libraries in Gila County. That's going to happen in the next 2 years. That money's here. So what they need is they need to keep going like we have been. We need to do things a little at a time and watch them grow. We need to plant seeds. There's not one pill that's going to fix everything.
Thank
I got
you.
red flagged.
I get the red flag. Uh-oh. Okay. Mr. Klein, one of the things that does affect economic development is our housing shortage. So what do you propose?
So affordable housing is a big issue. And so, we've looked at different areas, we've looked at different monies. It takes a lot of money for the affordable housing, and where do you put it? Where's it gonna go in at? That's another big issue. And so when we look at areas like, let's say Payson, for instance, up there, really high cost of housing up there. You can't hardly afford to rent or even buy a house up there these days. But it gets down to the money, and it gets down to the locations, and the money really needs to come from the federal government. We need grant money for housing. is what we need. And it takes time working on that, and we've pursued some of that and been looking at it and working towards it. But it's gonna take a lot of work on that to get that done. But it would definitely help our county as a whole if we can get that going.
Thank you. Mr. Barcon?
We were talking earlier, Mr. Klein and I, about the road to the valley and the bridge. When they first started it, and I think right now they're at about 127 million that's been invested by ADOT between the Florence Junction and Globe, Miami. That road actually was supposed to bring people into the area, and it's actually done the opposite. It's like a vortex. It's to send people out. We, with the IDA, we did a housing survey. We found that 75% of the people that live in the Globe, Miami area commute. And you have so many organizations here in town that are looking for an answer as to what can we do to bring people in. Well, first thing you have to ask yourself, do we have the amenities to bring people in? And we don't. Do we have the infrastructure? We don't. I mean, Globe does. Miami's just finished theirs. Tri-City is has a major issue with what's happening presently with their engineering company hitting them with the $850,000 bill. So all these things discourage people from coming in. Our college being defunded, I mean, that's the first thing that people look at, the education. So it's a problem, and I don't have the answer.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Humphreys?
What
would you do to improve?
The question was, is housing?
How do you improve the housing shortage as it does impact our ability to grow economically? Again,
I think that's not one pill's going to fix it. I think it's going to be, it's planting seeds and watching them grow. We have to get people interested in living here, and there's a lot of people that are interested in living here. But without broadband, there's a lot of people work from home anymore, and without broadband, they can't. So reaching out to get broadband in the area for our schools and libraries is a big step, because once that infrastructure is in, then soon after a utility company is going to work with that to get it more available. So the groundwork for that's been set. And again, Tri-City Sanitation, instead of negative, I'm looking at it as a positive. Because the thing of it is those old houses and some of those houses that people have walked away, if we can get sewer there's going to be investors come in to redo those. Dollar Dump Day, cleaning things up. We're going to have, as people drive through, they're going to have to drive around the place. They're going to have to like to see what they see. And broadband's going to help our hospital. Because a lot of people, retirement. We're not a full-service hospital, but we're working on it. And they're doing a great job with the last addition. So, the thing of it is I think what's going to bring housing tomorrow, the Opportunity Zone, we didn't have anything to do with that. The governor of Arizona set the Opportunity Zone lines. Didn't ask the supervisors their input, didn't say anything about it. So we had nothing to do with that whatsoever. So the thing of it is it's just going to take, in my opinion, it's going to have to take work and time, and we're just going to have to keep going on the projects that we've been working on and making little improvements. And then the City of Globe's working on an investor for 90 homes right now. So that's a good thing. We got to look at the positives, and we got to work, and we got to make broadband work. We got to make some of these things work, and working together as a team works well. And I'm red flagged again. I'm going to get all the red points this time.
Ms. Niffen?
Oh, yes, housing. Housing is an issue national, not just here. And the way I look at it is, why don't we come up with a feasibility study to see what's going on here in Gila County? And then I look at the broadband, Scatui, they could come in, they've got the fiber optics to put in the broadband here, but I'm not sure, I know they're here already, but I wish they could expand here so that could be done. And also with 75% commuting, like Mr. Barcone was saying, a transit hub here in town so that people would want to live here and they could still commute to Phoenix, Tucson, wherever they need to go, bringing people in and livening up this Globe Miami town. And also that goes with supporting small businesses too. I feel like they haven't had their voice heard in linkage with housing, because a lot of people want to open businesses here, but they say it's very costly. It costs a lot, the taxes and everything. So with housing, I would start with the feasibility study, like Humphrey was saying, and Klein, depends on what area you're talking about. Payson is different than Globe, and Hayden Winkleman's different than Globe, and Carrizo, Canyon Day, Star Valley, they're all different. So why not do a Gila County wide feasibility study and see where we start from there? Thank you.
Thank you. Did I ask you, Mr. Klein, did I start with you the last question?
You did.
See, I get lost occasionally. Mr. Barcone,
Yes.
we have many local nonprofits that are very successful and very hardworking. And with COVID-19, everyone is struggling financially to figure out how to raise money due to the lack of fundraising opportunities and how to rework that. How do you plan to support the great nonprofits that we have in Gila County?
The only way I'm a great proponent of grants. Again, the IDA was not funded by Gila County, so we had to raise our own monies, and we did it by grants. We have a manager that gets paid by those same grants. I know a lot of people that in the different agencies, and that's one of the things that made the IDA successful was, when I was president, was that we met direct with the head of the agencies. All these agencies, they have to give money away. It's just getting that right person to work with you. And once you start working with these people, you can get those grants. And so, like you're talking about all these nonprofits, sometimes I see that the work is being duplicated, and that's one thing that we tried several years ago, to eliminate some of them so we weren't doubling our efforts. But it's just like we're going to be going out for that money, that government money because of the COVID, there's a whole country that's going to be doing that. So we have to be smart in how we do it.
Okay. Mr. Humphrey?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was just in a meeting the other day about that. The thing of it is in prior years, as a matter of fact, until like last year before, Gila County didn't have a grant writer because they were behind in their state taxes, so they were unable to get a lot of grant funding because grants aren't going to fund you when you're behind in your state audits. So fortunately, we have worked with staff and we've got caught up on those past audits, so that now we are in a better position to receive grants. And so we have hired a grant writer, and I was meeting with her the other day. And so there's an awful lot of grants out there, and now that we have have hired a person to do grants full time, I visited with her, and there's some larger grants, but there's also smaller grants that are affiliated with projects and things of that. And so one of the things that one of the grants was tied to is the Dollar Dump Day. We're trying to clean up the community, which some of the grants like, so they can tie some funding to things like that for programs, like a nonprofit program that wanted to donate and clean up a block or a corner or something of that nature. Then the grant could fund their project for helping a cleanup project that the county already has going. So it's one of those things that as you get a little done, you can create a little more. And so we're working on it, and that's one of the ways we're working on it is with a new grant writer. And I'm going to stop at yellow because he's reaching for the red. There.
Ms. Niffen?
Oh, yes, how to manage nonprofits and bring them out of this COVID. The way I look at it with grant writing, you gotta prove your purpose, your scope of work. And also, when you consolidate services like your workforce, your transportation, all these different departments, it will probably work better or when you grant write for these projects. And I believe consolidation and coordination would be the key. And then like Humphrey was saying, I guess they're just barely coming out of their audits, cleaning it up. And it is true, you can't apply for a grant if you have bad, audits. And so right now's the time to start applying for grants. There's monies out there to help the nonprofits. And probably, like I said, feasibility study showing if different departments could be coordinated would save a lot of money. Duplicating effort, you're doing the same thing, and just have tunnel vision of your departments and keeping departments separate. So that's how I look at it.
Thank you. Mr. Klein?
Yeah, thank you. It's been tough with this COVID virus, and the 501c3s and nonprofits have suffered. And so we work hard with our 501c3s. And I can give you an example, a senior center in Hayden down there. We work really hard with them, making sure that they keep providing the services that they need to provide. They offer a huge service down there in a very large area. So between money that I have actually given them out of my constituent fund, and then working with people like Resolution Copper. Resolution Copper has been around, and they've been working with a lot of these people too, helping them and giving them money, and we keep helping them do that and keep in the middle of it and get them in contact with those folks that can provide that. The governor's passed down that CARES Act funding that went to every city and the county here. And that money is sitting there. That can be used also for some of these 501c3s. And so there's different avenues there for revenues that can be used. Also, like Supervisor Humphrey had started out with, we did put a grant writer in our finance department, and so she has helped with that as well, guiding some of these other these nonprofit organizations and helping them get those applications in. So there's a lot of work there. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey?
Yes.
We've, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of questions, and it's been mentioned several times here about the Tri-City Sanitary District. Can you state your position?
Well, the thing of it is my position as a person and as a business person in the community and as a supervisor, I'm all for it. I think the community needs it. It's been great to see City of Globe, Town of Miami, Tri-City Sanitation sit down at the same table with Central Arizona governments to create the DMAs of where the sewer boundaries are going to be. As a supervisor, I have no jurisdiction over the City of Globe, Town of Miami, or Tri-City Sanitation Department. When I go to their meetings and want to say something, if I'm not on the agenda to speak, I am called to the public. I have no jurisdiction over them. As a supervisor, have I flown to Washington to lobby for money for that program? Yes. Prior to me being elected supervisor, it was running for like 8 years and no funding because there was no government support, and the government and the federal government's not going to fund a project if the local government's not involved. So the thing of it is, you fly to Washington, you get involved, you lobby for money, you let people know that you support it. And when you can get 3 or 4 entities to sit down at the same table to talk about DMAs, then that's progress. You talk about infrastructure. To me, that's progress towards infrastructure. I'm stopping again on yellow. Thank you.
Ms. Niven, it's a good question if it doesn't affect you, so I'm not sure if that's what your opinions are.
Pardon me?
Tri-City,
Yeah.
the
Oh.
sewer. Well, from what I read in the paper and research, I know it's been going on for a long time. And I always read it and hoping that they could come to some sort of resolution by now. I believe it's been going on for some time. So hopefully, maybe the governments can get together and hash it out. Maybe a planning study or a strategic plan. I was just thinking, sitting here, what is our strategic plan for Gila County when you're looking at the financial sustainability, organizational development, securing your workplace, healthy environments, a safe county? Just looking at Globe Miami, are they ever going to become one? And that's the way I look at it, is maybe start with a strategic plan for the whole Gila County. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Klein?
So the Tri-City wastewater part of this, there's a big need to help those people right there. That's not in my district. It's in District 2. So I've been on the outside looking in. One thing that I did participate in is we did provide some money to hire a consultant that did go in there and look at it, to work with both parties on this, to see what the options were, what would be the best route to go, on and on and on. The one thing I will say is I do believe that there needs to be something done, but it needs to be done fairly soon. This seems like it just keeps being drug out. People are they're paying their monthly payments to this district, and it just keeps sitting there spinning its wheels. There's people that's wanting to bail out and get out of it. So I think it needs to come to a solution really quick. As a county, we don't have a lot of say in this at all. But we did step up there to try and help come to some sort of agreement to see what would be the best alternative to help these folks, because there was a lot of fighting back and forth. But I do agree that something needs to be done to take care of some of that waste, one way or another. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barquan?
I was the program manager for the town of Miami when we secured funding for their wastewater system. It took us a year to write out the PER and apply for the monies. So I got involved with Tri-City 10 years ago. And I tried to advise them on how it should be done, because the USDA has a checklist you just have to follow. One of the first things that you need is a preliminary engineering report. And in that report, it requires that DMAs be established. And we pointed that out to the engineers 2015. Until we got involved, myself and a couple of other guys, there had been no progress made towards their securing their loan. Globe didn't have a DMA, Town of Miami didn't have a DMA, and neither did the Tri-City people. So the system that they're trying to put in is a very expensive system, too expensive. It requires a third wastewater plant. I have built wastewater plants, and I can tell you that what they were getting, or they're saying they're going to get for $2.5 million, you don't get. It's more like 15 to 20 million. Unlike Mr. Klein and Tim, I have done some research, and Arizona Revised Statutes, Chapter 11, requires the county to get involved. Requires that they oversee documents that are provided to them. And these documents have not been provided to the county, and the county hasn't done their oversight. That is why they're in a heck of a pickle right now, looking at almost $1 billion debt that might kill the whole project. We do need a system, but we don't need a Cadillac like what they're proposing. Cheapest way to do it is to hook up to the town of Miami. Like I said, I build wastewater systems. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Niffen? How will you effectively communicate with your constituents?
Well, I believe every time I would have a meeting, I would communicate to them, attend all the tribal council meetings, the Globe meetings, go up to Payson, go up to Star Valley, Hayden, Winkleman. I'm used to doing that and being out there, maybe doing a couple of community projects, being out there with them when they need help, a newsletter, any type of, well, today, now it's Zoom, maybe have Zoom, communicating with them, letting them know our goals, initiatives, strategic plans, feasibility, plan of actions, and just being transparent with our people and letting them know what's going on, what happened, and what's coming up. That's the kind of person I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Klein, how do you effectively communicate with your constituents?
So normally, it's face-to-face with a lot of meetings and FaceTime. But for the last little while, because of this virus, it's been a lot of social media and things like that. Been on the radio a lot, especially on the northern part. We still try and attend those mayor meetings and whatnot there. Since the COVID's been going on, the reservations have been shut down, so we haven't been able to get onto the reservations to attend the tribal meetings. But I believe today, you know, I spend a lot of miles on the road covering my district. My district's the biggest one in the county. And so I think we're at a point in time anymore where social media is a lot of it. The one thing that I'm really like doing is putting our phone numbers out there, our cards out there, constantly telling people, if you have issues, if something's going on, please call us. It works pretty well. You know, it gives them a contact that they can call. But I'm really hoping we get past this virus and we can get back into a lot of FaceTime with it. I have an office in Payson, I have an office in Young, and of course I have an office at the courthouse. And so everybody knows that I'm here lately, and so they're pretty used to getting a hold of us at one of those offices and scheduling meetings, and then we catch up with them.
Thank you. Mr. Barcone?
Well, I'm glad I have grandkids that teach me how to use social media, because if I didn't, I'd be lost. Social media is probably the way things are moving now. Michael Crow from ASU wrote a book a couple of years ago that it was actually written because of crowded campuses and universities. But that same system can be used for education. And social distancing is a must. So this virus, it's not going to go away. It's going to be around for a while. So we need to learn how to cope with it. Social media, setting up 800 numbers with the county so that people can call, having someone manning that full time, so we can give them the attention quick. That's what I would propose, is Zooming more. It'd be nice to have face-to-face, but I've tried knocking on doors, and I mean, people panic when they come to the door. I mean, it's unbelievable. You sneeze at Home Depot, and by golly, people move 10 feet. So these are new times, and it's Zooming.
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey?
Well, to be honest, I'm not the Zoom guy. I do Zoom meetings. I do a lot of meetings on Zoom, but the thing of it is our area has a lot of elderly people. Our elderly people are not into the Zoom or the phones, and a lot of them need you to come and see. My public meetings are coming back in October. I'm going to set those public meetings. We're going to be safe. We're going to do social distancing. We're going to mask if we need to. But I'm going to get in front of the people, because that's what's helped me be effective. Is some of those areas they want to go show me something, and on Zoom they can't. And the thing of it is you get in a room tonight. Okay, we're on. We're broadcasted everywhere. But the thing of it is the people sitting in these chairs feel what we're saying. They get part of the energy. Those people sitting at home playing with their cat, they don't feel the same energy that you guys do sitting here in front of us. I'm old school. I'll do what I have to be safe, and I will contact the health department on everything that I do and how I should do it safely. But in this community, face to face and getting in front of the people and letting them show you what they need is where I'm at. Thank you.
Mr. Klein, what is your biggest obstacle in being an effective supervisor?
My biggest obstacle. You picked a tough one on that one. Good question. I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe not being a politician sometimes might hurt me a little bit in some ways. As we go out as supervisors and we're dealing with other elected officials above and beyond us, state representatives, things like that nature, maybe by not always being politically correct, could be a little bit of a dampener on it. I would hope not. I would hope people would want upfront answers and know where I'm coming from. But I know how politicians are. And I've been to DC. I've met with the representatives. I've met with the senators. We still meet with them. As a matter of fact, today I was on a conference call with one of them. So I would hope that that isn't it, but I think maybe, just looking at it from that standpoint, it's just reality. If you say something and somebody's offended, it's going to hurt you going down the road. And even though it's the truth, but I can't change. That's the way I am. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barcone, what do you feel would be your biggest obstacle of being an effective supervisor?
Again, the COVID kicks in. Communication. In my business, I communicate a lot with my project managers via email. And I learned early on that you can write something down and then you show up on the job and you go, what in the world? How did this happen? It's trying to communicate by email is very hard to do. The best is always face to face so that you can pound things out. But communicating by email, text messages, that's my biggest obstacle. And it's with a lot of people.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Humphrey, what is your biggest obstacle?
Could you repeat the question? I'm pretty sure I got it, but I want to be sure.
What's your biggest obstacle in being an effective supervisor?
Right now, COVID, and COVID. and the reason being is because, we're moving along, and like I say, been a general contractor. I'm used to sewing things together. I'm rock and roll. I like to make things happen, and all of a sudden, boom, we're half-staffed. What can you do with half a staff? You got people working from home. I understand. I think that's great. But that has been a horrible obstacle. Because when I first became supervisor, one of my obstacles was getting projects through because they had to be engineered, and okay, then you call the engineer and he hadn't heard from the road department or the road department, or he hasn't heard from whoever he sent the paperwork to. So I put a team together, and it consists of me, the assistant county attorney, both county engineers, head of public roads, and public works department. We sit down at a table once a month to go over projects for District 2. COVID kind of put a deal to that because we weren't able to sit at the same table unless we had a real big table. And so then we are on Zoom and things. So COVID's been a bad deal, but the thing of it is, you know, obstacles, you overcome obstacles, because if you don't, then they become hindrances. And so, you know, like I say, I had difficulty getting everybody on the same page. So putting a team together, once we get a project rolling, if it needs engineering, it goes to the engineer. Once it comes back from engineering, and if we need funding, the assistant county manager is sitting there. Let's look for funding. So, you know, COVID has put a lot of brakes to a lot of the projects and a lot of things that we've been working on. And we've still got a lot done. So I'm glad that COVID is letting up a little bit. And I think that will help the ball get rolling a lot. And if there's an obstacle, what is the obstacle, and overcome it?
Thank you.
Red.
Ms. Niffen, what do you think your biggest obstacle would be?
Being a supervisor, huh? Obstacles? Well, like Mr. Humphrey was saying, I agree with him on the COVID, because that's a big obstacle right now. We had a lot of things going, and all of a sudden we just stopped and slowed down. And just the challenge of being a supervisor during this time has really challenged us. And we had to work from home, only being in the office on staggered shifts, been quarantined, been on lockdown on the reservation, so couldn't really go out. That was a big obstacle. Couldn't go to any meetings, so you know, I was glad for Zoom. We got through a lot, but I see that also as the biggest obstacle to being a supervisor at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start wrapping it up. So, Mr. Barcone, please take 3 minutes to make your closing remarks.
Gila County is faced with never before seen times. The COVID-19 virus is not finished with this world, and it's not finished with our country. We need to take steps to make the living for the elderly easier. We need to take steps for our children that will prepare them for the future. And we need to take steps for Gila County taxpayers that will make their lives easier. The first step is correcting mistakes made by former supervisors. I will cut programs that promote wasteful spending and give freebies intended to buy voter support. These programs result in tax increases to residents. I will fight against wasteful spending and tax increases. I will support preschool, K-12, education, tutoring programs, and restore funding to Gila Community College. I will work to expand our community college. Our college has one of the top nursing programs in the state. Nursing schools across the nation have a 2-year waiting list. Why not expand our nursing school, add dormitories, and make Globe Miami a destination for nursing students? Why not expand into additional medical and dentistry programs? Why not add other trades? Let's enhance and promote the college we have. This is our opportunity to diversify our economy so we're not dependent on mining as our only industry. I will insist on proper oversight and accounting for all taxing districts to ensure that taxpayers are protected. Encouraging business growth and proactively working to diversify our economy is how the county generates additional revenue to pay for the improvements. You expand the tax base, you don't burden the residents with excessive taxes. High taxes kill the communities. It causes people to move. We have a perfect example with Hayden Winkleman over the hill. This election is not about party affiliation. We need proven leadership that can navigate through these times. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey.
Yeah, first of all, I don't believe in raising taxes either. Gila County taxes haven't been raised in 10 years, and their base tax is not going to be raised. If taxes increased, it's because the assessment of the properties have increased, not because the base taxes of the property were increased. And so they haven't been done in 10 years. As far as I'm concerned, they're not going to be done in the next 10 years. But when I'm reelected, I'm going to continue working as I have. I've been a general contractor, bringing things together and sitting down at a table with the town of Miami, City of Globe, Tri-City is a good thing. The composting facility, getting ADOT, town of Miami, and Gila County all together on one project. I'm going to stay in front of the public. I'm going to keep working on these projects. I want to see the Tonal Bridge built now that we got the funding for it, because now it's going to turn into a management project. Like I say, the composting facility, it's a pilot program. It started 2 or 3 days ago. I want to see that happen all the time because we're not recycling paper anymore. So why not turn it into compost? Usable product for the mines and for ADOT. ADOT put us on a pilot program. And so I'm just going to keep trying to bring things together and keep in front of the public, keep working with the infrastructure, keep working with letting people know that Gila County's here, because it needs to be a destination, not a drive-through. And it's becoming that, but we have to just keep working at it a little at a time. College, yes, the college is funding. The college is self-funding. The college is part of your taxes. If you'll look on your tax bill, it's Gila Community College. We still have a budget for community college. We don't give them funds like we used to because, as I say, we're catching up with our state audits. If you just hand somebody $250,000 and they don't have a reason why that you're giving it to them, you don't get caught up on your state audits. There's still a budget item there for the community college. All they have to do is fill out like a grant form, give it to us. We're happy to help them anytime they want help. We didn't pull funding. I can show you our yearly budget where they're funded in there for a certain amount of money. And the thing of it is if they need more money, if they want to expand, they can put in for a tax increase, not your tax base. The supervisors aren't raising it. And the thing of it is the college and the schools, if you'll look on your tax bill, you'll see what you're paying taxes for. And so I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Niffen?
Yes. When I think of my final words, I just think of driving through Gila County and you notice too many storefronts are shuttered, too many houses are for sale, few people are walking the streets, nearly no tourists in Superior, Payson, Miami, and Globe. Copper, cattle, cotton no longer sustain us. We need businesses, industries, and tourists to come back. We need a modern economy. We need jobs. Gila County has been on the decline for too long. The COVID pandemic has only made it worse. The unemployment rate is 10.3%. Another 10% live on Social Security, like I was saying earlier. We have one of the highest rates of poverty in Arizona. Construction is down, yet Gila County has so much to offer. And I'd like to say at this time, thank you for all the marvelous coordinated collaborative effort in fighting the spread of coronavirus, and just condolences to the residents of Gila County that have lost loved ones. And Gila County also has a $119 million budget, some $35.6 million in tax revenue, $43 million in revenue other than taxes, but how is this tax being utilized? We need the county supervisors to connect with the needs of our residents. We have 52,000 residents in Gila County, but I don't see much change. Gila County does not even have a public transportation system that gets workers to their jobs. My opponent has been here a long time, but I'm not sure what he has done. I am running for supervisor to work for you. I am not about the status quo. I have worked in government over 10 years. I have brought in, managed $35 million in revenue. I work for the largest employer in Gila County. We have over $300 million in revenues. We are the largest employer in Gila County with 2,500 workers and yet a population of only 13,500. We managed to get over 60 million in federal funds for COVID alone. We have a hospital, resort, 2 casinos, and a government that works. Yet, I work for the San Carlos Apache tribe. I am a member of the tribe and a proud graduate of NAU, and I want to bring the tribe's success to the county government. And then as director of TANF and its public transit system, I brought education to those who needed to get job skills. I have created good, high-paying transit jobs and also a transit system that the public can depend on, even Globe, Safford. And also, I know how to make the government work. I know how to create jobs. I know how to develop, attract business, tourists, and industry. The greatest resource of Gila County is our people and our beautiful surroundings. You and I are what makes the county great. Together we can make the county thrive. I'm running for supervisor to work for you, not to be supervisor for the status quo, not to be just a nice woman. I am running to be your voice. I will bring your vision for change, economic development, and opportunity to you. I know that my education and my common sense approach to fiscal management, transparency, and accountability will make a difference for you. If I earn your vote, I will work hard towards our common values, roll up my sleeves, and serve you, the people of Gila County. It's our time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Klein.
So thank you. Gila County runs on 3.5% public lands. So you're looking at a lot of land in Gila County that we don't collect taxes off of. So I think we've done real well in the 4 years I've been there. We have not raised taxes. We don't plan on raising taxes. That has been my goal all along. It'll continue to be my goal. We don't have casinos to fall back on. We don't have that money. So everything we do, it has to come from jobs and GDP and growing. And so going forward, we've worked on a lot of projects we have in the mill right now. I want to see those continue. We've tackled some really tough projects, especially lately, like our PSPRS retirement system. We're working on making sure that our law enforcement folks or their unfunded liabilities are in place so they won't run out of their retirement. That was something that we picked up from the state several years ago. And so we dove in that head on and working on getting that done. So going forward from here, yeah, we're gonna keep on with our projects we're going with. My focus has always been the constituents of Gila County and will remain that. I want to see our jobs grow. I want to see people like Resolution come in here and produce some more jobs. That helps our contractors. That beefs up our contractors. I know some places don't agree with Resolution, don't want them here, but that's an option. Now, I do want to see us start winging ourselves away from the mining industry, because one of these days it's going to be gone. And so we have to take that seriously, and we have to be working on other means of income. And that's where we're promoting Gila County. We're trying to get the broadbands established and get the infrastructure in here, so hopefully we can see this grow. All these are projects that we've already started and will continue to work on going forward. So a vote for me is a vote for the constituents of Gila County. I'm not backed by any councils. I don't have any councils pushing on me. I don't have any special interest groups controlling me. What you see is what is me. I'm here. And I work for the people of Gila County and will continue to do that. And I appreciate the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank all the candidates for joining us tonight and answering our questions. We've enjoyed getting to learn more about each and every one of you and where you stand on topics and issues that are important to the wonderful people of Gila County. I want to thank our fellow community members from all over the county for submitting their questions and tuning in with us tonight. We will have our last virtual local candidate forum series next Wednesday, September 30th, 2020 at 6 p.m., where we will get to know the candidates running for the Gila County Treasurer and the Gila County Sheriff. We hope that you'll join us on our YouTube channel again. Stay safe and healthy out there, and remember to vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Very much.